Power only works where permission is quietly given. There's a certain kind of person everyone knows. The one who seems to run the room without raising their voice. The one decisions bend around. The one people hesitate before disagreeing with. He manages systems, controls narratives, influences outcomes, and somehow always lands on his feet. Titles may change, faces may rotate, but his grip stays firm. And most people adjust themselves automatically when he walks in. Tone changes, posture straightens, opinions soften. Not because he asked them to, but because power has a way of training people without ever sending out a memo. Here's the part nobody talks about. Power doesn't collapse loudly, it glitches first. Studies on social influence show that authority depends less on dominance and more on compliance cues. Micro-behaviors like approval-seeking, emotional responsiveness, and predictability. Take those away, and even the most influential person begins to misfire. Their confidence wobbles, their timing goes off, their presence feels slightly off, not dramatic, just noticeable. That's where this story starts. Because somewhere in the middle of all his control, there's one place where the system doesn't respond. One person the usual methods don't work on. No flinching, no adjusting, no emotional handshake. And suddenly the man who runs everything starts acting different. He talks slower, thinks longer, chooses words like they cost money. The same guy who interrupts others now waits. The same guy who commands attention now watches the room first. And everyone notices, even if they can't explain why. It's almost funny in a quiet way, like watching a seasoned chess player realize the board has one square that refuses to behave. No fireworks, no confrontation, just a subtle malfunction in his usual authority, the kind that makes people exchange glances and think, "Did you see that?" This isn't about rebellion, it's not about dominance, and it definitely isn't about ego. It's about something far rarer and far more unsettling to control-driven people. Someone who never signed the invisible contract. Someone who didn't give permission, didn't opt in, didn't adjust their inner compass just because everyone else did. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because when power fails quietly in one place, it exposes how carefully it's been maintained everywhere else. Number one, he controls people, but he can't control someone with discernment. He's used to moving people like pieces without touching them. A look here, a tone shift there, a carefully placed comment, and most people fall right into line. Not because they're weak, but because they're unaware. Control works best when it feels invisible, but that entire system breaks down the moment discernment enters the room. Discernment doesn't argue, it doesn't announce itself, it doesn't react on impulse. It simply sees what's actually happening underneath the surface, and that alone is enough to ruin the play. With you, his usual tools don't land. You don't respond to pressure the way others do. You don't get pulled in by praise, urgency, fear, or flattery. You pause, you observe. You let things unfold before you commit emotionally or mentally. That pause is what unsettles him. Because in that pause, you're not absorbing his narrative, you're evaluating it. He can feel the difference, even if he can't name it. That's why he behaves differently around you. He becomes careful, almost restrained. He chooses his words like he's stepping around glass. He senses that you're listening for what isn't being said, not just what is, and that awareness puts him at a disadvantage. A controlling person depends on speed and emotional momentum. Discernment slows everything down. It forces clarity. It exposes gaps in logic and intention without needing confrontation. People around you notice it too. They see how confident he is with everyone else and how measured he becomes with you. They notice how he doesn't test you the way he tests others. He doesn't push your boundaries casually. He doesn't play the same games, not because you're aggressive, but because you're grounded. You don't need to win the room to stand firm in yourself. The truth is, discernment makes you uncontrollable because it makes you self-led. You're not reacting to personalities, you're responding to reality. And when someone who thrives on influence meets someone who sees clearly, control quietly loses its grip. No drama, no showdown, just a subtle shift where power no longer knows where to land. Number 2, his authority doesn't work on someone who isn't trying to impress him. He's mastered the art of influence. People bend, adjust, and overcompensate without even realizing it. They mirror his expectations, tailor their words, and modulate their energy just to fit the space he occupies. That's how he maintains authority. Subtle, almost invisible, but unmistakably effective. But you don't play that game, you don't seek his approval, and you don't perform to match his standards. You exist fully in your own integrity, and that breaks his rhythm in a way he doesn't encounter with anyone else. Around you, the usual rules don't apply. The strategies he relies on, the charm, the pressure, the carefully timed gestures, fall flat. He's forced to slow down, to think, to measure, because he can't anticipate your reactions the same way he does with others. That's what makes him uncomfortable. People notice it immediately. The man who's used to commanding attention now has to consciously adjust his presence, and even then it's different. He isn't less capable, he's just constrained. You are the exception, and exceptions always draw eyes. The absence of impression-making from your side isn't arrogance, it's rooted in self-possession. You're not trying to prove yourself to anyone, and that refusal to validate his dominance is like a mirror he can't look away from. Others might laugh it off, thinking he's simply being polite or restrained, but the shift is real and noticeable. Your steadiness forces him to navigate a space where he doesn't have the upper hand, and the subtle cracks in his usual authority become visible to everyone. What's fascinating is that his discomfort isn't overt. It's quiet, but palpable. The hesitation, the careful choice of words, the way he slightly softens or recalibrates, these are all signs of someone adjusting to someone who refuses to play by the same rules. Around you, the dynamics of control invert subtly but undeniably. Everyone senses it. And that's why authority, no matter how practiced or powerful, doesn't work on someone who isn't chasing it. You are steady, self-contained, and completely untouchable in the ways that truly matter. Number 3, he can predict everybody's reactions except yours. He thrives on patterns. He studies people, reads behaviors, and anticipates reactions before they even happen. Most people give themselves away with the slightest twitch of emotion, the half smile, the quick nod, or the hesitant word. He picks up on those signals instantly and adjusts accordingly, almost like he's always 10 steps ahead in a game no one else even knows they're playing. That's how he maintains control, how he bends rooms to his will, and how he keeps others off balance without ever raising his voice. But when it comes to you, all of that expertise fails. Suddenly, the moves he's used 1,000 times to navigate people no longer work. You don't give him cues, you don't telegraph your responses, and you don't act predictably. That unpredictability unnerves him. He's used to calculating outcomes, scripting interactions, and knowing exactly when to push and when to pull. You disrupt that system entirely. Your responses are measured, grounded, and rooted in reality rather than expectation. You don't react to his energy. You respond to the situation as it truly is. That makes him pause, adjust, rethink, and sometimes overthink. Even the smallest hesitation on his part becomes noticeable because it's so unlike him. People around him can feel it too. They see the usual calm confidence falter, the practiced assertiveness soften, and the carefully orchestrated control wobble. What makes it even more remarkable is that he knows you aren't being difficult on purpose. You're not trying to outmaneuver him or show superiority. You simply operate from a place he can't anticipate, a space where truth and clarity dictate the rhythm. And that is the kind of power no one can prepare for. the kind that leaves someone used to mastery quietly recalibrating in your presence. Your unpredictability isn't chaos, it's precision, and it's visible to everyone. It silently exposes how much effort he puts into controlling people who are predictable. And in that quiet, subtle way, it becomes undeniable. The one person whose reactions he can't predict is standing firm, untouchable, and entirely unshaken. Number 4, his ego shrinks. Because you don't feed it, he's used to people fueling his sense of importance like oxygen. Compliments, attention, agreement, even subtle validation. All of it keeps him inflated, confident, and in control. Around most people, he walks into a room and his ego fills every corner without effort. But with you, that air escapes. You don't inflate him. You don't laugh when he expects laughter. You don't react with awe or admiration. You operate independently, fully self-contained, and that silence or refusal is deafening to someone who thrives on external validation. What happens is almost fascinating. You notice it in the way he adjusts his posture, lowers his tone, or softens the force behind his words. The man who usually dominates the space suddenly appears smaller, more cautious. Not because he's lost power entirely, but because he's confronting someone whose presence doesn't require him to assert dominance to feel whole. That absence of feeding is a subtle but powerful disarmament. It's invisible to many, but undeniable to those who pay attention. People around you notice the shift. They see the contrast between how he behaves with others and how measured, careful, even slightly restrained he becomes with you. Your lack of ego validation isn't arrogance, it's self-possession. You aren't there to prop him up, to soothe his insecurities, or to play the part of the audience. That refusal forces him to confront himself in ways he's not accustomed to. He can't rely on the usual tools that work everywhere else, charm, intimidation, influence, because none of it lands when the recipient is emotionally independent. The quiet power in that is magnetic and unsettling at the same time, and the result is clear. The man who usually feels untouchable around others begins to operate differently in your presence. He recalibrates, restrains, and even hesitates. It's a subtle erosion of ego, one that doesn't need conflict to be noticed. His inflated confidence shrinks, and everyone watching senses the rare, unspoken truth. When someone refuses to feed a powerful ego, it loses its edge entirely, leaving him noticeably human. Number 5. He can dominate spaces, but he can't dominate a mind that has self-control. He's brilliant at reading a room, at bending energy, at taking command without raising his voice. Most people feel his presence before they even realize why, and they instinctively adjust. That's the kind of control that works like a magnet, pulling reactions, emotions, and attention toward him without effort. But there's one thing he can't manipulate: a mind that refuses to be swayed. You don't react impulsively. You don't get caught up in the theatrics, the tension, or the pressure. Your responses are measured, deliberate, and grounded in self-awareness, and that makes him uneasy. Control thrives on emotional leverage. He pushes buttons, reads micro-reactions, and watches for cracks. The moment someone becomes untouchable in their composure, the usual tools of influence falter. You've built a mental armor made of patience, clarity, and awareness. You respond from observation, not emotion. That single trait transforms the dynamic entirely. The man who normally dominates effortlessly now walks carefully. He chooses words he would throw casually to others. He hesitates where he usually acts. The predictability of his control has disappeared. People around him notice it immediately. The tension in the room subtly shifts, even if they can't describe why. The person who normally commands the room now seems cautious, restrained, almost polite in a way that isn't habitual for him. You've disrupted his rhythm simply by being steady. There's no confrontation, no overt defiance, just a quiet refusal to be moved or manipulated. That quiet refusal carries far more weight than any argument could. Self-control is not weakness, it's power that operates invisibly. He can control outcomes, influence behavior, and dominate appearances, but he can't reach into a mind that doesn't bend. Your steadiness exposes the fragile core beneath his performance of dominance. The result is striking. He loses the effortless upper hand he carries everywhere else, and the people watching can't help but notice the subtle shift. A strong mind cannot be conquered, and when someone realizes that, control stops being about force and starts being about observation, and you have already mastered it. Number 6. He adjusts himself around you because you expose his inconsistencies. He's practiced at controlling narratives, at crafting impressions, and at presenting a polished version of himself to the world. Most people respond to the performance without ever questioning it, letting him maintain a flawless front. But you are not most people. You see the cracks, the pauses, the gaps in his story, the things he thinks are invisible. You notice when his words don't match his actions, when his confidence masks uncertainty, and when his explanations are more about persuasion than truth. That exposure makes him cautious, because he knows that around you, his inconsistencies are visible. It's fascinating to watch. The man who usually talks with absolute authority suddenly chooses words carefully. He doesn't exaggerate as much. He edits his stories mid-sentence. He pauses where he would normally rush forward. That tension is subtle but unmistakable. People around him can feel it, even if they don't immediately understand why. There's a difference between someone who respects boundaries and someone who can't hide anything. You are the latter, and he instinctively recognizes it. What makes this especially compelling is that you're not actively trying to expose him. You're not setting traps or testing him. You simply exist in a way that doesn't allow for pretense. Your awareness acts like a mirror, reflecting truth that he usually controls through misdirection and influence. That reflection is disarming. The very tools he uses to run everything, charm, persuasion, calculated confidence, don't operate the same way when someone sees through them effortlessly. The result is clear. He becomes measured, careful, and unusually restrained. The ease he displays with everyone else vanishes, replaced by a subtle tension that reveals the difference between performance and reality. Everyone watching senses it, the shift from unchecked dominance to calculated restraint. Around you, the man who runs everything is suddenly just a man, and the quiet power of honesty, perception, and awareness becomes the force that he cannot control. You expose what everyone else overlooks, and that is why he behaves differently in your presence. Number 7. He senses that you can see the motives he hides from others. He's skilled at masking intentions. He knows how to hide what drives him, how to frame his actions in ways that look harmless, charming, or strategic to the people around him. Most fall for it without question, responding to the version he presents rather than the one beneath. But with you, that strategy fails. There's something about your presence that forces transparency, a way of observing that doesn't rely on what's said but on what's real. He feels it immediately, an unspoken awareness that you can detect the motives he spends so much energy concealing. That realization changes his behavior. He slows down. He measures his words. The casual ease he carries with others disappears. He becomes more deliberate, more calculated, because he knows that in front of you, his usual methods of manipulation and influence won't land. You see the subtleties, the hesitation, the overcorrection, the tiny cracks in his narrative that he thinks no one else notices. And because he knows you see them, he has to behave differently. People around you notice it too. They see him adjusting, softening, or walking on eggshells in ways that are uncharacteristic. The confidence he projects elsewhere is tempered by restraint in your presence, and that shift is impossible to miss. What makes it even more powerful is that you don't call him out, you don't dramatize the insight. You simply exist with clarity, and that alone exposes him. This dynamic is both unsettling and revealing. You aren't trying to undermine him, you simply operate from truth, and truth is impossible to disguise. His discomfort is a testament to the power of perception when paired with self-possession. He senses that any misstep, any hidden agenda, any attempt at subtle control will be transparent to you. And that is the kind of pressure no one else can create, the kind that forces even the most confident person to tread carefully. Around you, he can no longer rely on illusions or hidden motives. Your clarity exposes him, and everyone else notices it too. It's silent, undeniable, and profoundly disarming. Number 8. His influence fails. Because you're not emotionally dependent on anyone. He thrives on dependency. His power feeds off people needing him, needing his approval, his attention, his validation. It's subtle, almost invisible, but once someone relies on him emotionally, he controls the room with ease. People act differently around him because they want something from him, or because they fear losing what he represents. That's how influence works. It's not about truth, it's about leverage. But with you, all that leverage disappears. You don't need him for anything he usually offers. You stand on your own. Your emotional independence breaks the rhythm he's so accustomed to. Because you aren't dependent, his usual strategies fail. The charm, the pressure, the micro-manipulations, all of it lands flat. You don't react the way others do. You don't give him openings to exploit. You don't feed his ego or his sense of control, and the effect on him is immediate, though he hides it as best he can. Suddenly he's cautious. He measures his words. He doesn't push. The confidence he displays everywhere else fades slightly when he realizes he's dealing with someone who cannot be moved by the levers he usually pulls. Others notice it instantly. They see how he behaves with everyone else, commanding, assertive, almost untouchable, and then watch him navigate a completely different dynamic with you. There's a subtle tension, a carefulness, almost a sense of restraint. People sense that he doesn't have the usual hold, and that quiet shift changes the energy in the room. What makes this so powerful is that it isn't about rebellion, defiance, or confrontation. You're not actively resisting him. You simply operate from self-sufficiency. Your emotional independence creates a space where influence cannot take root. And that's what makes you untouchable in a way that's obvious to everyone paying attention. You don't need him, and that alone disarms someone whose authority is built on dependence. Your freedom exposes the fragility of his influence, and everyone around you notices it without a word being spoken. Number 9, he realizes you don't fear losing him, and that's where his power collapses. He wields influence like a silent currency. People respond to him not only because of who he is, but because of the fear of losing him, the fear of losing favor, opportunities, or validation. That fear is his strongest tool. He doesn't always need to assert authority. Often just the presence of possibility is enough to bend others to his will. But with you, that currency holds no value. You don't fear him. You don't measure your worth by his attention or approval. You exist fully in your own strength, and that destroys the foundation he relies on. When he senses that you aren't afraid of losing him, everything changes. His usual ease falters. The strategies he uses so effectively on others, subtle pressure, charm, even intimidation, become ineffective. He can no longer rely on the weight of expectation or perceived consequence. Around you, he must tread carefully because he knows that nothing he does will create panic, compliance, or insecurity. The balance of power, which is usually invisible, becomes awkwardly tangible. People around you notice this immediately. The man who commands confidence and control with most people becomes restrained, calculated, almost hesitant in your presence. His energy, normally dominant and unshakable, carries a subtle tension that wasn't there before. It's visible to anyone paying attention, the cracks in what he usually projects, the unusual carefulness in his interactions, the tiny adjustments he makes to avoid missteps. What makes this profound is that you don't even have to challenge him. You don't push, you don't confront, you simply refuse to operate from fear. And that refusal is more disarming than any direct opposition. His authority, built on the unspoken pressure of fear, loses its grip completely because fear doesn't exist in your world. By not fearing him, by refusing to let him define your value or control your choices, you quietly collapse the power he wields over everyone else. And in that collapse, everyone sees the rare truth. The only person whose presence weakens him isn't defiant. She's simply unshakable. Number 10, he runs on people's complaints, but you don't overshare. He thrives on information, especially the kind that others unwittingly provide. Complaints, confessions, frustrations, they're his fuel. Every slip of vulnerability is a tool he can use to shape outcomes, influence decisions, or gain leverage. Most people hand him these pieces willingly, often without realizing the power they're giving him. But you don't play that game. You keep your world contained. You don't overshare. You don't volunteer your thoughts, your struggles, or your emotions to someone whose energy is designed to exploit them. And that, more than anything, unsettles him. Without the usual supply of personal information, his strategies falter. He can't predict your reactions, can't anticipate leverage points, and can't manufacture influence the way he does with others. He's forced to engage with you on a level that doesn't involve manipulation or control, and that unfamiliar terrain makes him cautious. The casual authority he wields everywhere else disappears. He has to slow down, measure his words, and carefully navigate interactions that would normally be effortless for him. People around you notice the shift immediately. The man who dominates conversations with subtlety, who thrives on steering dialogue and extracting information, behaves differently when he's around you. He doesn't interrupt, he doesn't pressure, and he doesn't attempt to pull strings behind the scenes. His usual energy, the one that bends rooms and shapes responses, is muted, replaced with a strange carefulness. Everyone sees it, even if they can't put it into words. There's a difference in how he operates when someone refuses to hand him the tools he needs. Your discretion isn't about secrecy or avoidance. It's a display of self-possession. By keeping your inner world intact, you deny him the leverage he counts on. That quiet resistance, this simple refusal to overshare, removes his power over you completely. And the result is unmistakable. The man who seems to control everything is suddenly contained, cautious and restrained, while everyone watching senses the invisible line he cannot cross. Number 11, he can intimidate others, but he can't intimidate someone who's faced worse. He's a master of creating pressure, a look, a tone, a carefully calculated remark. He knows how to unsettle people, to make them second-guess themselves, and to bend them to his will. Most people respond because they've never faced storms like him. They rely on him to maintain order in chaos, or they fear the consequences of defiance. But you are different. You've faced hardships, challenges, and realities that dwarfed anything he could throw at you. Intimidation doesn't work on someone who has already stared down worse situations and emerged whole. That history, your resilience, acts as an invisible shield. He can sense it immediately. The usual tactics, pressure, sarcasm, subtle threats, charm, or control don't land. Your reactions are measured, steady, and unshaken, and that is disarming in a way he's not accustomed to. Around you, He pauses where he would normally strike. He thinks before he acts. His usual energy of dominance softens into something calculated and careful. And the people around him notice it instantly. They see the confidence he carries with others diminish slightly, replaced by restraint that isn't habitual for him. Your strength doesn't come from aggression or defiance. It comes from experience and self-possession. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to fight. You simply respond from clarity and composure. And that simple truth is terrifying to someone who depends on fear and leverage to maintain influence. The effect is subtle but undeniable. He operates differently around you because he senses that nothing he does will shake you emotionally. The tension that intimidation usually creates evaporates, leaving him exposed in a way that is visible to everyone. Your calm, grounded presence silently communicates that his power has limits, and that the one person he cannot rattle stands confidently, untouchable, and fully aware. Around you, intimidation loses its value entirely, and everyone watching recognizes it. Number 12. His charm has no effect because you don't romanticize people. He's perfected the art of charm, the smiles, the stories, the charisma. It's a toolkit designed to draw people in, to make them see him as more than he is, to bend perceptions in his favor. Most people fall into it without resistance. They create narratives around him, fill in gaps with idealization, and respond with admiration or deference. But you don't play that game. You see people as they truly are. You don't fill in the blanks with fantasies or hope. You deal with reality, not performance. And that changes everything. When he encounters you, the usual patterns of influence fail. The charm that works effortlessly elsewhere falls flat. He can't rely on flattering gestures, witty remarks, or calculated vulnerability because you don't romanticize the person behind them. You evaluate actions, words, and intentions as they are, not as he wants them to appear. That subtle resistance makes him cautious. He can feel it, the energy shift, the way his presence no longer commands an automatic response. Around you, he must measure every word, every gesture, every nuance, because you won't supply the emotional embellishment that strengthens his influence elsewhere. People around you notice the change immediately. The man who usually dazzles, who holds attention with a casual ease, suddenly operates differently. He becomes more deliberate, more restrained, almost tense in his interactions. His charm, which is normally a force that shapes rooms and sways opinions, is neutralized, and that subtle difference is impossible to miss. Your strength is quiet but profound. It's not defiance, it's not confrontation. It's a refusal to participate in the illusions that fuel his control. By engaging with him on reality rather than perception, you disarm him completely. You show that admiration, fear, or idealization are the tools he relies on, and when they're absent, his influence collapses in a way that is immediately visible to everyone. Around you, charm loses its magic, and the man who runs everything becomes just another person, careful, measured, and aware that his usual effect no longer works. Number 13. He avoids testing you because he knows you don't play social games. He thrives on testing people. It's how he measures boundaries, gauges loyalty, and discovers vulnerabilities. A sly remark, a subtle provocation, a hidden challenge. He uses them to see who bends, who folds, and who reacts in ways that can be manipulated. Most people respond without thinking, revealing themselves piece by piece, allowing him to maintain the upper hand. But you operate differently. You don't play the games he relies on. You don't engage in the setups, the tests, or the invisible challenges. You respond from your own standards, not from his triggers, and that completely disarms him. Because you don't participate in his games, he hesitates. He doesn't throw out the usual subtle provocations because he knows they won't work. the energy he normally uses to manipulate situations. Calculated pressure, strategic charm, or orchestrated tension loses its effect. Around you, he becomes deliberate, cautious, and unusually measured. The confidence he displays with others, the ease with which he maneuvers social dynamics, is replaced with restraint and calculation. People notice it immediately. The same man who moves through rooms effortlessly now navigates your presence with a different rhythm, adjusting his approach in ways that are subtle but unmistakable. Your refusal to engage isn't about resistance or defiance, it's about self-possession. You don't have to prove yourself, react on cue, or feed into dynamics you don't agree with. That quiet independence removes his leverage entirely. The very tools he relies on, tests, manipulations, and social pressure, cannot operate in a space where boundaries are clear and reactions are measured. The result is profound. He walks into interactions knowing he can't predict outcomes, can't exploit weaknesses, and can't bend you to his designs. Around you, the man who seems to control everything loses his confidence and ease. His usual dominance is neutralized without a single confrontation. Everyone watching senses it. One person refuses to play, and suddenly, the master of social games becomes careful, deliberate, and contained, exposing the rare truth that some people simply cannot be manipulated. Number 14. He knows that standing against you would expose his weaknesses publicly. He's used to being untouchable. He can challenge, confront, or dominate most people without consequence because the systems around him support his influence. His authority depends on others bending, compromising, or staying silent, and that creates an image of control that seems absolute. But with you, that illusion is fragile. He knows that any direct opposition, any attempt to assert dominance, or even a subtle move against you, could reveal cracks in the facade he maintains so carefully. You have a presence that highlights inconsistencies, exposes vulnerabilities, and makes hidden weaknesses visible, and he feels it immediately. That awareness changes everything. He doesn't confront you the way he does others. He doesn't push boundaries casually, because he understands the risk. Any misstep in your presence could show people what he's been hiding, how much of his authority relies on perception rather than substance. The usual confidence, the casual superiority, the seamless control. Around you, it becomes measured, restrained, and cautious. You don't even have to engage him aggressively. Your mere presence forces him to operate within limits he rarely respects elsewhere. People around you notice it instantly. They see a shift in energy, a subtle tension in how he carries himself. The man who dominates effortlessly with everyone else now chooses words carefully, adjusts tone, and walks a fine line to avoid exposure. It's not intimidation that keeps him in check. It's recognition that you see too clearly. You illuminate what others overlook, and that clarity neutralizes the performance he depends on to maintain control. What makes it so striking is that you don't need to act. You don't need to challenge him. Your awareness, your grounded presence, and your refusal to participate in manipulation are enough to disarm him completely. Around you, the man who seems to run everything is suddenly cautious, deliberate, and constrained. Everyone watching senses it. The person who cannot be used, manipulated, or controlled exposes the subtle vulnerabilities even the most powerful try to hide, making your presence quietly, unmistakably commanding. The truth is simple yet profound. Power, influence, and control are illusions that only work when the people around them give permission. The man who seems to run everything, who bends rooms and minds effortlessly, relies entirely on predictability, fear, and dependency. But when he encounters someone who sees clearly, refuses to be manipulated, and operates from self-possession, all of his tools fail. Your discernment, emotional independence, clarity, and grounded presence quietly dismantle the systems he builds. You don't need to fight, argue, or perform any act of defiance. The strength lies in your refusal to participate in the games that empower him. Every subtle shift in his behavior, the hesitation, the careful word choice, the rare restraint, is proof of an unspoken truth. Around you, his influence collapses. You expose inconsistencies without speaking, deflate egos without confrontation, and render manipulation powerless simply by being unshakable. People notice. They see the difference in the room, the way confidence falters, the way control is lost quietly but unmistakably. That's the power of self-possession. That's the rare force of someone who refuses to feed anyone else's illusions. And it goes deeper than control. It's about freedom, the freedom to operate from truth, the freedom to observe without compromise, the freedom to remain untouchable in spaces where most would bend. It's about showing that influence, no matter how practiced or pervasive, has boundaries, and those boundaries are defined by one simple thing: your awareness and your refusal to give permission. You don't just survive his presence, you neutralize it, not with confrontation, but with clarity, composure, and unwavering self-possession. So if this resonated with you, if you recognize the power of operating from your own truth, make sure you stay connected. Hit that subscribe button to join our community of people who refuse to be controlled, who seek clarity, and who stand unshakable in every environment. Like this video if you found value in these insights. Comment below to share your thoughts or experiences, and don't forget to share this with anyone who needs to see the difference between true self-possession and manipulated obedience. Your presence matters, and your clarity has the power to shift everything around you, just like it always has. God bless you.